Hello, Mr. Crawford's class. Welcome back. Today we are going to continue learning about quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals and how to classify them is just like how we worked with triangles. Triangles, we worked on what properties does it have? What, based on those properties, what triangle is it? And from those properties and classifying the triangle, we were able to put it into a hierarchy or a system, an inclusive system to show the organization of those shapes of a scalene, isosceles, and equilateral triangle, and how to sort them. We are moving forward to quadrilaterals, which are four-sided shapes. So a quadrilateral is a four-sided shape that has four sides and four angles. The lines are going to be straight lines. So as you can see, all the shapes have straight lines, or Mr. Crawford's straight, but you have straight lines here. All right, I did the best I could. So in these different shapes, all the lines are straight. As you can see, all the shapes have four sides to them and four angles. That's a place to start. And what we call a shape that has four sides and four angles is a quadrilateral. All right. And obviously, there's going to be a hierarchy, like I'm showing you here. An organization to show different types of quadrilaterals, and then what properties does it have. And the more properties a quadrilateral has, the lower down on this hierarchy you go. And so I'm going to show you that here in a second. A quadrilateral is a four-sided, four-angled shape. So this example right here is that there's no parallel sides, there's no right angles, the sides are all different lengths. It's just a regular four-sided shape with straight lines, and it has four sides and four angles. Now we can add a layer onto what a quadrilateral can turn into or be classified. There's other quadrilaterals, other four-sided shapes that we can use based off the properties. So if we go down to a trapezoid is going to look like this a lot of the time. All right, it's going to have four sides, four angles, but it's also going to have at least one pair of parallel sides. So you can see here I have the little arrows on the shape, and it's showing you that those arrows show the parallel sides or lines that will never cross in the shape. So that means that a quadrilateral cannot be a trapezoid, because a trapezoid has an extra property that a quadrilateral doesn't. A quadrilateral has four sides and four angles. All of these shapes have four sides and four angles. So that means a trapezoid, though, can also be classified as a quadrilateral, because a trapezoid has four sides and four angles, as well as at least one pair of parallel sides. That's what makes it a trapezoid. That's a type of quadrilateral. All right, so that's why it goes down on the hierarchy. Okay, so then you have a quadrilateral can also turn into a kite. All right, so we can have a quadrilateral, four sides and four shapes, but what now if you had two pairs of equal length? So if you look closely here, you're going to see that two sides with the one dash show that they're of equal length and they're next to each other, because adjacent means like an adjacent angle. All right, two lines that are adjacent to each other make an angle. So these two lines here are making an angle, and they're both the same length. Then you have another pair of equal lengths with the two dashes this time. Those two dashes mean that those lines come to be adjacent, which creates angle, and which both of those lines are the same length. That creates a kite. All right, and a kite is off to its side because it's not the same as one pair of parallel lines, but a kite only has one extra property, so it only goes down one level. All right, it's got two pairs of equal length adjacent sides, and it's four sides and four angles. So that's why it's on the same level as a trapezoid. All right. Continuing along, okay, so now we have a trapezoid or a kite. All right, a trapezoid is at least one pair of parallel sides. But what if you had two pairs of parallel sides? Now we're talking. So now we're going to go down even further, all right, because there's an extra property a parallelogram has that a trapezoid does not. A parallelogram has two pairs of parallel sides, like you see over here. So it's like kind of like a rectangle, but tilted, right? So we have a tilted rectangle or parallelogram, right? We call a tilted rectangle parallelogram. And its sides have two pairs of parallel sides. One pair here with one arrow, and this pair here with two arrows. That means that they're both parallel sides, okay? And but there's two pairs of them, so that makes them one layer down, all right? So a parallelogram can also be considered or classified as a trapezoid because a parallelogram does have at least one pair of parallel sides. So that means it's also a trapezoid. A parallelogram also has four sides and four angles. So a parallelogram can be classified as a parallelogram, a trapezoid, or a quadrilateral. That's where the hierarchy comes in because it includes the ones that it already has. So this parallelogram is included with a trapezoid and a quadrilateral. All right. Let's look at a parallelogram can now create two more different shapes depending on what property we add to a parallelogram. So to go down further to our hierarchy, we have a rectangle and a rhombus. All right, this rectangle here, let's go to rectangle first, okay? It has two pairs of parallel sides, like a parallelogram, but also has four right angles. All right, so that's the difference. It has one more property. All right, so it has one more property. It's further down on the hierarchy. All right, but so if you have a shape like this over here, four right angles, two pairs of parallel sides. When you have that, a rectangle can be classified as a parallelogram, and it can be classified as a trapezoid, and it can be classified as a quadrilateral. All right, so because it's further down the hierarchy, but it includes the rest that it already has the properties of. So the more properties a shape has, the more ways it can be classified. So now we go from a rectangle with two pairs of parallel sides and four right angles we can go to that, or we can go to what is called a rhombus. All right, a rhombus is kind of cool because it takes a parallelogram. It has four sides of equal length. So now it doesn't have to have four right angles like a rectangle does, but it does have to have four sides of equal length. All right. So a parallelogram, when you take that parallelogram and make all the sides equal length, you're going to have two pairs of parallel sides, and you're going to have all four sides be the same length. You're going to create a rhombus, and they kind of always look like a diamond. All right. That's why a kite can go to a rhombus, because if you made all four sides of a kite equal length, it would become a rhombus. So a rhombus can be considered a kite because it has four sides of equal length, not just two pairs of sides of equal length. And it's also got four sides and four angles. So that means if we include all the properties together, we can include that a rhombus is also a kite and also a quadrilateral. But the cool thing about a rhombus is not only is a rhombus a parallelogram, but it's also a trapezoid and it's also an equilateral, because a rhombus has two pairs of parallel sides, because all the sides are of equal length. All right, and so if they're of equal length, but not just a little tilted like a diamond, all the sides are going to be of equal length, and they're going to have two pairs of parallel sides. So if you have two pairs of parallel sides, that means you can include a trapezoid into your classification, because a rhombus can be a trapezoid because it has at least one pair of parallel sides. And then we come back, and then rhombus can also have four sides and four angles. So as you can see, a rhombus can be a lot of things. It can be classified as a rhombus if you have a shape with four sides of equal length, because it can be a parallelogram, a kite, a trapezoid, or an equilateral, because a rhombus has all the properties. All right, so the more properties that a shape has, the further down the hierarchy it is, because there's more that can be included in it. All right, now a rhombus has four sides of equal length and two pairs of parallel sides. A rectangle has four right angles and two pairs of parallel sides. If you take the equal sides of a rhombus and the properties of a rectangle of four right angles, now you're going to have a square, because a square has four right angles and 4 sides of equal length. All right. And if you have 4 sides of equal length, that means you're going to have 2 pairs of parallel sides, which this does. All right. So that means that a square includes all of these. A square can be included if you were to think of inclusively, thinking that the hierarchy means that a square encompasses all of these properties together. All right. So a square, if you want to work up back to a quadrilateral, a square with 4 right angles and 4 equal sides means that you have 4 equal sides like a rhombus, but you also have 2 pairs of parallel sides and 4 right angles. So a square can be a rhombus or a rectangle. And if it can be a rhombus or a rectangle, it can be a parallelogram because a square has 2 pairs of parallel sides. So if you think inclusively, a square can be any of these in the hierarchy. All right. In this hierarchy, we are working down because you think hierarchy, you want to work up to like your highness, like or like the king or queen and like the leader of a country. You have to work up to that. Well, hierarchy can also work down, but that also means that the square can be all of this included together because a square has all the properties of all the other shapes. And that I kind of call it the king shape because it has all the properties. It has everything that everybody else does. So with a hierarchy, we're showing a system, an inclusive system of properties to classify shapes. And so a quadrilateral has the least amount of properties. A square has the most amount of properties. So that means a quadrilateral, you have to add properties to it to classify it as a different shape. So a quadrilateral has to have at least 1 pair of parallel sides to be considered a trapezoid. All right. If it's just 4 angles and 4 sides, it's just a quadrilateral. But if you have at least one pair of parallel sides, now it's a trapezoid. All right. And just like any of these others. So it's super, super important for you to review the resources that I gave you on class pages for April 22nd, because it's going to show you all of this and not Ms. Crawford's handwriting. But hopefully this can help fill in some of the gaps of you understanding what this skill is. Think inclusive. The further down you work in the hierarchy, the more properties a shape has, the more different ways you can classify it. So a square, you can classify a square by having 4 right angles and 4 equal sides. But if you have those, you have all the other properties too. All right, so you work down to a square, and then if you have all the properties, if you have a shape that has all the properties of a square, you can classify it as a rhombus, a rectangle, a parallelogram, a kite, a trapezoid, or a quadrilateral. All right, so hopefully this helps. Review those resources. Give it your best shot on the Google form. It's going to be challenging. All right, but I tried to help you out as much as possible, and trust me, I will give you more chances to do better. All right, so don't freak out if you don't do well on the quiz. I'm really happy that you guys are trying so hard and checking in, and just keep doing that. Keep persevering. Keep getting online. Keep doing your best. Email me if you have any questions. Okay. All right. Have a great Wednesday, hump day. All right. Get over the hump and get these lessons done and have a great rest of your day. Stay happy and healthy. Okay.